And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark.
This is such a funny moment for the jaunty trumpet to come in. God killed almost everyone on the planet. Bap, 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 bap. The kids are still in the hot air balloon and they're miles away. This is my favourite story about Jesus.
That's cool, Sarah.
No, it's not. Shut up. I can't believe I thought this film was going to have plot. How stupid am I? Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel, welcome if you are new. My name is Emma. My hair is doing some kind of thing today, if we could just accept the flower crown and then move on. Today, we're going to Bible Town. Forget it, Jake. It's Bible Town. This is another film by High Flyers. Yes, the same production company who made Alien Predator also made cursed CG children's Christian movie Bible Town. Movie's a strong word for what this is. Yes, this is another fabulous recap / review of a truly cursed, awful movie. I was gonna get the corkboard, I've even got some new pointers, but there's like 3 characters in this whole film, and the locations are completely nonsensical. I don't even know how I would do it, and it would be kind of pointless, so sorry. Next time. I can't wait to show you my new pointers. It's going to be great. We need a real, actual film that I can make sense of to be able to do that. Feels like every time I do one of these, the bar sort of descends lower and lower. Bibletown is distributed by Wow Now Entertainment, aka my nemesis, who also gifted us the wonderful Finding Jesus, the, at least in terms of the title, rip-off of Finding Nemo that was actually just a series of short episodes stuck together with clips of the ocean in between them. First of all, if you haven't seen my video on Finding Jesus, it's really funny. It's one of my favourite videos that I've ever made. I think you should check it out. Bibletown made me miss Finding Jesus. Maybe it's just, hindsight, I've forgotten it. I've forgotten the experience enough to, remember it fondly in a way that probably isn't accurate. But yeah, this film fucking sucks. Bibletown has 1.2 stars on IMDb. I remind you that is out of 10, and I think that's quite generous. Maybe some of the ratings are from people that worked on it. I don't know. Even the poster is a nightmare. Why they chose these expressions, like the kids are smelling something rank, is totally beyond me. By the way, I realized this only after the fact, but these are not the 3 main characters. The one in the middle is a side character who's barely in it. He never gets in the balloon and he never has a Bible. Nobody does, for some reason, in Bibletown. The other 2 are the 2 main characters, and then the 3rd main character is this blonde girl called Sarah. I don't know why they put the boy in the poster instead. Like, maybe they wanted to appeal to boys more and they thought having 2 girls in the poster wouldn't appeal to them. I'm inclined to think it's probably a graphics issue with the Sarah image or something. You'll understand why I make that kind of assumption as we look at the film. 3 friends travel to a place where all of the inhabitants tell inspirational Bible stories. Wow, every kid's dream. Take a note of this description. All of the inhabitants tell inspirational Bible stories. Just remember that for later. So the director is a chap called Evan Tremmell, and when I looked him up, I saw an amazing trailer for a film he's done called Horseplay, which seems to exist solely for the sake of a couple of horse puns.
From the horse's mouth.
He's also responsible for loads of the High Flyers knockoffs like Strange Events, the TV series, and Quantum Supremacy. So, if we get through this in a stable mental state, I might quite enjoy looking at Horseplay at some point in the future. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to look at that based on the still image from the trailer. Apart from one single found footage film, which actually has 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, Evan seems to be one of those guys. The guys that somehow fall into a career making thousands of cheap and lazy films with knockoff titles. The High Flyers website is kind of a joy if you can stand to wait long enough for the bloody thing to load. There's a lot of ridiculous horror film knockoffs, like Alice in Terrorland, and there's one that really caught my eye called The Loch Ness Horror. I vibe with anything Loch Ness Monster theme, but a horror Loch Ness Monster movie really appeals to me, so maybe we'll mark that on the list for later as well. The poster for this Christmas movie that says "decent laughs" gave me a real chuckle, although to be fair, the only quote on the Bibletown poster says "a handy resource," which is also not that impressive. Anyway, the point is that High Flyers seems to showcase like a couple of holiday movies and then tons of horror and historical films, like all live action. There is nothing on the surface that looks remotely like this animated film. You have to dig really deep to find it. They've got so many films that I had to search by genre. And so I hit the animation category, and I still had to search through a ton of historical films, including several about Hitler. What the fuck is going on? Imagine you're trying to find Bibletown on this website for your kids. Mommy, who's that? That's just Hitler again, dear. We'll find this Bible movie soon, I swear. Wow Now Entertainment, by the way, all these months later, the website header's still fucked up. My dudes, this film stressed me out. Fortunately for me, I have geology to take care of my skin. Because stress can make you break out is the joke I was making. That's the thing I was saying. Good segue, me. Today's video is sponsored by Geology. Geology is a 30-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company. They make simple and effective skin and hair care routines personalized just for you. They have more than 10,000 5-star reviews. I use them every day. I really, really like these products. I'm a simple bean. I hate trying to sift through a million products with a load of different confusing names. I want my skincare to be simple and effective, and Geology does that for me. With your order, you get these neat little cards that tell you exactly what the active ingredients are and how they work. There's no stupid fads, there's no skincare trends, plus they are vegan and cruelty-free. My favourite thing is how ridiculously easy Geology makes skincare. I am not a habit former, I cannot form habits. With Geology, I have this handy-dandy list. Do this in the morning, do this in the evening. And then the products themselves, for example, here's my Tone Control Morning Cream. You can see that there's numbers on them. So even just by glancing at your products, you can see what order you have to do everything in. Using my link, you can get 70% off your personalized skincare trial set, plus up to an additional 50% off add-ons when added to the trial. You're getting over $49 worth of products for just $15, and that's for a full month, a 30-day sample set. It's such a good deal, they're such great products, I highly recommend. Use my code EmmaThorne70 for that 70% off your skincare trial set. Plus, Geology is now available at Target and Amazon. Check out the links down below to find them there. Thank you so much for listening, and to Geology for sponsoring this video. The film opens with 3 wise men watching as the moon is about to collide with the Earth, I assume, judging by the size. The music is jaunty as fuck. It does not fit with the images. A sparkling light descends on the whitest baby Jesus and also the oldest baby Jesus. Clearly, he's in the manger. He's just been born. We see Mary and Joseph, but he's got like a 4-year-old's head. Look at his full head of hair and his thick eyebrows and shit. High flyers don't own an actual baby model, I guess. Imagine giving birth and that comes out of you like, mother, I have awakened. Why have they put him on these jagged-ass spikes? Are you trying to impale the baby Jesus? Mary and Joseph look fucking monstrous, of course, and Mary is also tiny for someone who's literally just given birth. What is going on here? Oh my god. So yeah, all that baby Jesus wise men, that was just the intro scene. That was just like the logo section. I don't know. And the best part is the music doesn't change at all. There's not even like a sound effect or something to accompany the logo. From the wise men under the giant moon through to the opening text, it's just like a do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do. I put in my notes at this early stage that the film probably didn't have a sound designer, it seemed like. So just remember that for later as well. We're introduced to this kid, Jimmy, who is off to meet his best friends and head to Bibletown in his hot air balloon. For some reason, I expected there to be plot that drove the kids to Bibletown. Like they need to learn some kind of moral lesson or they get whisked into this adventure somehow. You know, like the start of Polar Express or something like that. No, this kid just has his own hot air balloon and he's off to Bibletown. Okay. So Jimmy's taking a hot air balloon directly to his friend's house. As per Finding Jesus, the animation is limited and horrifying. His mouth flaps up and down indistinctly, just like in Finding Jesus. The characters are not animated for the film. These characters exist with these specific animation cycles and they are just edited together. I guess somebody tried to make it as close as possible, but so they'll say things like, yeah, while their mouths are going, yeah. In the balloon, they fill loads of his dialogue up with just shots of the back of his head. Jimmy remembers, for whatever reason he forgot for 3 seconds. Nothing makes sense right out the gate. He remembers where his friend Sarah lives and just flies directly upwards. Sarah, who is also the CG devil incarnate, lives in this 2D playhouse, I guess. What is that other balloon doing? It's empty, but it's flying around by her house? Like, I guess it was just already in this animated 2D backdrop that they're using. So they just, like, left it. It wasn't editable for them, so it just is there and makes no sense. Less than 2 minutes in, and here comes my first proper VFX note. Pal, What's this? What is this? This could be a mask gone wrong, but since this is its own independent object in the scene, my assumption is that the balloon and the background asset, the scene, are different resolutions. And the editor just kind of slapped it in and didn't notice or know how to fix it. People have to pay real money to watch this film. The balloon drops back down into the sky now with Sarah in tow, so I assume she lived on a floating island. That's the only way this makes sense. God knows I tried really hard to make it make sense.
Just a perfect day to visit Bibletown.
Yeah, I know, right?
That pointless interaction followed by the just dead silence cracked me up so much, I'm sorry. Kind of goes without saying, but while they're having this long, boring, pointless conversation in the balloon, I realised that the kid's hair is perfectly rigid. It's not animated at all. That's classic Lego hair. Sarah couldn't sleep last night because she was so excited to go to Bibletown. So her mom made her a glass of warm milk and read her a Bible story. And then she could sleep.
That's cool, Sarah.
No, it's not. Shut up.
Which story did she read you?
My very favorite one. It's about the creation of the world.
I like the part where God punishes all women with pain in childbirth forever. Sarah tells Jimmy the story of the beginning on the way to their friend Tammy's house. This is exactly like Finding Jesus, where in that film there were just all these filler shots of the empty ocean that just dragged out and made it so boring. In this, it's like they spend all this time in this balloon in the just empty sky. Like, the film is about Bibletown. Let's get to Bibletown.
And the earth was without form and void.
Yeah, that's what I picture when I hear empty void. Butterfly clouds and rainbows with swings attached. We pan across a bunch of happy, clappy, still images while Sarah narrates the beginning of creation over the same jaunty music. It kind of feels like this was AI generated somehow, or like the editor's headphones didn't work while they were editing, because on the screen Eve is talking to a snake before humans or animals even exist. I hate the music. I hate the mismatch between the audio and the visuals. It's so jarring looking at something that is completely contradictory to what you're hearing and being told. That must be really fucking confusing for children. I hate Sarah's narration. I hate this bit where the giant sunflowers have human faces. In my notes here I wrote, I'm starting to fear that all the Bible stories will be told in this format. So this goes on for some time, like so long. Minutes and minutes of Sarah just reading out Genesis over mismatched images, many of which are repeated, by the way. We finally finish the story and get back to the balloon. Over 5 minutes later, 5 straight minutes of Sarah narrating the Bible over still images with the same jaunty fucking tune in the background. The music is crazy making. It's the kind of music you could use to torture someone. Like, just the same inoffensive, tinkly tune. It goes nowhere and loops over and over with a nearly monotonous narrator over the top. I think this film was made to punish rather than educate. Yeah, so then Jimmy tells the story of the Great Flood. And it's exactly the same. Jimmy narrates the story of Noah's Ark over still images and the same music. I want to get off the balloon. I guess these PowerPoint presentations of Bible stories might be like mind-numbing enough to make you forget that the CG characters have like 3 preset animation cycles. Imagine actually animating a film. Quick shout out though to this adorably weird Noah. I love him, although I don't know what he's doing to that dove.
And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth.
It's so weird to hear a child character narrate this over like happy music and images without any questions. Like, it's a really horrible bit of story. No wonder the animals look so nervous. Side note, I hate that all these films, again like Finding Jesus, I hate that they're narrated by adults. Now, some good adult voice actors can do children's voices. Typically you get adult women doing their voices for young boys, say. Hello, Icon and Queen Veronica Taylor. But the voices in these films are just so unconvincing. They're like me playing video games without any voice acting and just putting on something silly on the spot. Except I genuinely think I could do better. They sound like adults. It's creepy. Also, I use TinEye on my favourite Noah image. TinEye is a reverse image search website. It's very useful. If you ever see anything in like a film and you're like, I think that's a stock image, or I feel like, you know, they might have taken this from somewhere, or that's a popular asset, whatever, you can use TinEye or something like it. And I just wanted to check my suspicion, and yeah, these are all stock images. Every single image used in these story sections is just miscellaneous stock footage that vaguely relates to the story. Not always. On some sites, you can buy Weird Noah on a t-shirt. I'm probably going to do that, let's be honest.
And they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark.
This is such a funny moment for the jaunty trumpet to come in. God killed almost everyone on the planet. Bap, 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 bap. This story is even longer than the first. I've been, trained by Bibletown to feel relief when I see the balloon, because it means the story's over. Take me back to my cursed CG friends in the sky. Please! I wrote down my guess for what was going to happen next in my notes. I put, and I'm going to show it to you so that you know this is exactly what I wrote at the time, we're going to pick up Tammy and she's going to tell her favourite Bible story, and it'll be another 5+ minutes of still images. It'll probably be the birth of Jesus or something. So hold on to that in your memory too.
You told the story so well, too.
Did I have to sweep my hair out of the way just so you could definitely see my eyebrow for that moment? Yes. And I have no regrets. Hashtag no regrets. Tammy lives here, in front of this 2D picture of a house in the woods. Even though the reverse shot was a completely different landscape. Whatever, they live on weird fucking floating islands and travel in hot air balloons. It doesn't fucking matter. I love that one of the 3 animations is this insane arm thing. It's yeah! So Sarah's just doing that mid-conversation. It's so fucking random. Good to see you. The weather's really nice, huh? Tammy seems to have never been in a hot air balloon before, which makes me now a little bit confused about this world that I've been creating in my mind, in order to justify the story. If they're friends who already meet up, then they must have ways to travel around that aren't by hot air balloon. But balloons are common enough that Sarah had one in her 2D background children's playhouse home. And if there are ways to get around other than hot air balloon, why are they traveling by hot air balloon? I'm clearly putting way too much thought into making this world make sense, a lot more than the creators did.
We're going to Bibletown.
Whoa, Bibletown?
You can hear the disappointment in her voice. Bibletown? For real? Can we go get fries or something instead? This, presumably friend of someone on the production team gives no fucks. They put zero enthusiasm into Tammy's voice, and it is the best thing ever. Except for when she's narrating a story, because it makes it incredibly boring. Sarah and Jimmy explain Bibletown to Tammy because she's never been before. Everyone there knows stories from the Bible, and they're so nice that they'll tell you some if you ask. But the kids already know loads of Bible stories. And they're nice enough to tell them to each other. We just heard 2. Bibletown is starting to seem a bit redundant, and it's been 20 minutes and we're still not there yet. The closest we've come to Bibletown in this film of that name is kids explaining it in a hot air balloon. Come on, let's go! Let's fucking go! I want to hear a Bibletown resident explain the story of Lot to 3 children. At this one point in the story, and then never again, Sarah calls Tammy Tats, I think?
Tats?
Which is weird. Unless that is a regular nickname for Tammy that I've never heard. Kind of sounds like what you'd nickname your cool biker friend who has loads of tattoos.
Even the story about the birth of Jesus?
Oh, yes! Everybody just loves that Bible story.
That's my favorite one too. Can I tell it to you guys?
Vindication! Either I'm some kind of genius, or this film is ludicrously predictable in its mundanity. You decide. 2D images, Tammy narrating, which as I say is worse because she has a really downbeat voice. Even when she's saying things like, wow, I love that story. The music has not changed. I don't know if I'm getting across strongly enough how horrible that is. If you think about watching a movie, typically the music changes scene by scene, at least, right? Sometimes more than that. And sometimes a film will use an existing song or a popular song like Lust for Life in Trainspotting, Time of My Life in Dirty Dancing, Don't Stop Me Now in Shaun of the Dead. But even then, it's balanced specifically to match the scene. Audio mixing is a really important, skilled job. Having the exact same, nothing tune played at the exact same level scene after scene with no connection to what's happening on the screen and not a single sound effect, it's insane. It feels awful. When my mum was young, she got salmonella and she had to be isolated in the hospital, and she asked a nurse to turn off the radio for her, and the nurse was like, there's no radio playing. It was just the fever playing a song in her head and driving her mad. That's how the music in this film feels. The only standout thing about Tammy's story is that it mixes the clip art style images from earlier with these beautiful watercolor pictures, which again is really jarring. Why are there pictures of Noah's Ark in this story about the baby Jesus?
What a great story.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. They all know that story. They're 3 little Christian kids whose parents read them Bible stories before bed. They're telling each other Bible stories. Like, what's the point? What is the point of telling these major stories that all of these Christian children, like viewers and the characters in the stories, will have already heard loads of times? Like, they hear the story of the birth of Jesus and go, wow! Like, really?
What about the story about the 3 wise men from the east that brought gifts to baby Jesus?
How far away is Bibletown? Is it on another continent? Sarah retakes the reins and tells the story of the wise men. Same stock images that make no sense, the same song. Kill me!
I want to tell you guys another Bible story.
This is the story of Jesus in the temple, which is a pretty good one. Not told by Jimmy, though. The only notable thing here is that one of the images is of Jesus in a hot air balloon, except instead of a basket, it's a cauldron. Flying around in a cauldron, performing miracles. Burn the witch! Jimmy finishes his story, the kids all say how much they love Jesus, which is so much. And then, a landscape. There's a single tree and a couple of shacks in disrepair. I mean, this can't be.
Bibletown! Now we go and hear some of the most amazing stories from the Bible.
We just heard 30 minutes of Bible stories. Can't we stop for a cup of tea or something? Also, this is not a town. This is 3 buildings and a tree. Why are they in the air again? I hate this. Okay, I guess that was like a decoy Bibletown because this is actual Bibletown. It looks like Ding Dong Dell from Ni no Kuni or something. Oh no, Pam's got the arm thing too. It's contagious. The kids are visiting their friend Pam in Bibletown because she always tells the best stories. Look, there's a burger place like right there. Let's get lunch while we listen. It's right next to the giant jelly from Neopets. Why the fuck would they use this background that's like a magical food wonderland for Bibletown? Just get a picture of a regular town. You'd think Bibletown would have more, like, Bible stuff in it. Like, it'd be more churches than ice cream mountains.
I've been practicing telling a really great Bible story.
Oh shit, Pam's been practicing. This better be good, Pam. Pam tells the kids the story of Jesus' baptism by John, and are you sure that's John the Baptist and not a caveman? Why is this cheapy John and Jesus image so romantic? So, Pam tells the story, and I'm like, trying to understand the function of this movie. Like, it's just Bible stories narrated over boring images. Like, you could probably find that on YouTube. You could do that yourself to your kids. There's probably like an audiobook version of that is more interesting to listen to and probably free. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't really make any sense. What I expected, that the kind of purpose and how it would play out would be that they would read these stories to the children and then explain them to make it easier for kids to understand. But they don't do that. They just, like, read it verbatim. So the stories contain all this archaic language. Like Sarah said thither with a lot of confidence earlier. Like, does a 6-year-old or whatever know what that means? A lot of the Bible is poetic, or it has, like, a lot of repetition that makes it kind of clunky and a bit weird to understand for a modern reader. TLDR, this film does not exist to provide a service, to provide information to children about the Bible. It exists to rip off Christian parents who are looking for something safe to stick their kids in front of. And I can't imagine it would be successful at that because it's so boring. Like, kids have a worse attention span than me. And I struggled. I started messaging Connla halfway through watching this film because I got so bored. I feel like if you made your kids watch this movie and then later you tried to tell them a Bible story, they'd be like, no! They're gonna get like Bibletown PTSD. There are some new images in Pam's story, but they're still wrong. There's lots of Jesus performing miracles, even like carrying the cross, which is a bit early doors. There's a Jesus that looks like an Easter Island statue.
Tell us another story.
Oh. Pam's audio is way too low, by the way. She's nearly overpowered by the stupid music.
This is how it goes.
It was only at this moment I just realised that the kids are still in the hot air balloon and they're miles away. How is Pam telling them this story at normal speaking volume? This is my favourite story about Jesus. Pam next tells the story of Jesus' first miracle. And our first miracle is that instead of just static images, this time there are animated stock background images. My question is, why did they wait until halfway through the film to do that? Don't worry though, they're still wildly inappropriate for the story.
Will you tell us another one?
Son of a... The kids demand another story of Pam. Aren't they tired? I am. I expected the kids to be going from person to person in Bibletown, learning different stories from each of them, but it's just the main stories that kids will already know the Genesis, the flood, the birth of Jesus, the baptism. What's the point? They've got 3 stories out of one person in Bibletown so far. Pam's next story, my other grandfather.
My other grandfather.
My other Bible story. Pam's next story is about the Samaritan woman at the well. It's not that thrilling a story, it's just a kind of boring conversation between Jesus and an unnamed woman, whom Jesus just calls woman, because Jesus is an alpha male, where he's like, check it out, I'm the Messiah. See how much time I saved telling that Bible story?
Tell us another story, Pam.
You're kidding me. Give Pam a break. She's been shouting stories at your balloon for ages. Whenever there's like a long word or a really short sentence, it highlights the flaw in this like animation cheat so badly. There's nothing like seeing a kid go, yeah, while their mouth is like, yeah. Pam launches into the rejection at Nazareth from Luke for the first time without actually explaining what story she's going to tell. I looked up Pam's words just to see if I could check what version of the Bible they were using, and interestingly, this isn't actually like a verbatim version of the text. It's like a mix of various translations.
And Jesus came to Nazareth.
Different translations either start this sentence, then he, or and he, or then Jesus. I realised then that she also skips some words. For example, while the order of words and specific language does vary from one translation to another, Jesus always goes to the synagogue as is his custom. But Pam skips that little bit. So I guess they're either reading from a kid's version or they're paraphrasing it themselves. So now I'm even more confused about them still using all the archaic language that kids wouldn't understand. I do not understand any of the decisions, basically, involved in the making of this film, except the one to make it as cheaply as possible. I understand that one because people love money, despite the teachings of Jesus. Again, there's only one notable thing during this story, but it is an interesting one, which is that they use the clip from when the kids arrived in Bibletown, so we can see clearly that there is definitely just a barn, a tree, and a couple shacks. The clip also loops like we're stuck in fucking purgatory. As Descartes famously said, hell is being trapped forever in a hot air balloon approaching Bibletown. Suddenly the story is over and the kids are back in the sky, descending again because they travelled below the land in this world. Bye, Pam, I guess?
I have a Bible story for you guys.
What? We came specifically to hear the people of Bibletown tell Bible stories. That's the premise of the entire film. What, we bother Pam and then it's back in the balloon for another Jimmy special? What gives? Jimmy tells the story of the fishes and Simon Peter, and it's a blissfully short one at least.
And followed him.
Wait, I know another awesome Bible story.
We're really not beating around the bush anymore, like, there's no more, wow, I love that story. We were already gone when Pam finished her last one. There's no time to comment on Jimmy's story before Tammy wants to get in her go. Could the writer just not be bothered anymore? You know, to come up with such incredible dialogue as, wow, I love that story. Tammy says she knows a story about Jesus performing miracles, which is a really weird way to phrase it because they just heard a story about Jesus performing a miracle. I guess she thinks hers is better?
He came out of him.
Yeah, I bet he did. It's all animated stock backgrounds over the stories now. It's like this second half was put together by a different person. Not much to say other than, oh god, this is a fucking nightmare.
The next towns. Now he preached there also. But therefore came forth, and he preached in the synagogues throughout all Galilee, and cast out devils.
Back to the balloon. The kids spot a friend of theirs, Sam from Bibletown, who, if you can believe such a thing, tells really awesome stories from the Bible. Either Bibletown is enormous, and they've been travelling over it or under it this entire time, or they just flew like directly up or down and then waited until they could see someone they knew. I can't believe I thought this film was gonna have plot. How stupid am I? Sam has the arm disease too. Also, Tammy is missing from the balloon in this shot. Someone used the wrong asset. Sam is a nightmare. You'll recognise him from the poster that mistakenly places him as some kind of protagonist. The kids are all CG nightmares, but Sam especially because he has windows with light pouring from them permanently reflected in his eyes. How does that happen? This one I genuinely didn't have a guess for. They reflect that non-existent window so strongly. It's like something out of Creepshow. These are the early stages of Sam turning into a mirror or something. Some 3D savvy friends of mine suggested that this is a shader problem, that the window is to give the illusion of reflection, but it's supposed to be toned way down, and they just didn't. Or they pointed to the wrong file or something like that. Something got fucked up, basically. It just kind of amazes me that no one at any stage of production noticed that. Like, the artist just handed it off without looking at it or noticing that, and then they just said, yeah, great, thanks, and dismissed the artist production side without checking the work. And then nobody noticed until it was too late and they didn't want to pay an animator to fix it. It's a minor character, so I guess fine, but it means that there's terror every time he's on screen.
When he had ended all of his sayings in the audience of the people.
Pretty bold to open a story with. And then he was done with that. What? Context? Sam finishes his story and Tammy is like, cool. What about the miracle with the loaves and the fishes, though? And Sarah is like, oh, I know that one. Let me tell it. And so she does. So I ask you again, what is the point of Bibletown? We travelled so far in a hot air balloon to hear the famous, amazing storytellers of Bibletown. Shut up, Sarah. Your pride is showing. To be fair, it is June.
Been to a desert place apart.
Audio skip. I think it says something about my expectations that I was impressed not to have noticed any audio glitches until the 1 hour mark. It's been 1 hour of this. Lucifer save me.
I know what happens next.
Jesus walks on water.
Wait, Jimmy. Let Tammy tell the story from the beginning.
What do you mean from the beginning? You just told the beginning. Tammy's gonna tell the next part. While Sam just stands there what did you guys even visit me for? Suddenly, Tammy's audio is way too low. I thought I did the volume by mistake or something, so I went back to when Sarah's speaking, and no, the mix is just wrong. Someone nudged the gain by accident and nobody noticed. God knows. God only knows.
And as many as touch were made perfectly whole.
I know.
Jesus Christ. Sarah tells the next part, so at the very least it's back to a normal volume. The imagery for this part is all palm fronds. I don't really know why.
And one of you is a devil? He spake of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for he it was that should betray him, being one of the 12.
This is so weird, such a weird part to end it on, fuck Judas, am I right? Balloon descends into the sky again. Maybe this whole experience is better stood on your head. With the blood rushing to it. The dizzier you get, the more tolerable it is. As with Pam, we don't say any kind of goodbye to Sam, who only got to tell one part of a story. Who cares? He was scary. Tammy is like, wow, that was so cool. Even though we spent more time in the sky than in Bibletown, and we only met 2 people. Remember the movie description? Where all the inhabitants tell amazing stories. I guess we're meant to just take it for granted from the back of the DVD box or something. Tammy's audio level is still fucked up, by the way. She's still way too low, so I'm guessing it's just her track that got messed up. Again, how does nobody notice that? Surely, even if you don't bother listening to the film, you can, see the waveform with your eyes and know that it's wrong.
Don't you love this place?
Yeah, I love this endless void of sky and clouds. Oh, you mean Bibletown? It's alright, I guess. In this part, Tammy actually expresses an emotion other than elation. 10 minutes from the end, it's the only time the tone changes in any character at all through the entire thing. She wishes they had more time to spend in Bibletown. Bitch, you wasted so much time telling stories at each other, above Bibletown, or below it, or whatever. You had the time, you just didn't use it. Sarah kindly offers to tell Tammy another Bible story. The Transfiguration. What's happening here? What's going on here? And what's going on here? God, I want this cursed umbrella. Jesus' big old head on top and then 2 hands dangling down. He truly is transfigured. Hey, they bothered to flip one of the repeated images. They clicked more than 3 times they had to. Someone was being a little extra that day. Back to the balloon, and Tammy, for some reason, interrupts to ask what happens next.
Oh, I know.
Really?
Tammy throwing some shade at Jimmy there. Weirdly, Tammy asks how Jimmy knows this story. You all know Bible stories. This whole day has been you telling each other Bible stories. You said that your parents read them to you. Jimmy frequents a place called Bibletown where everyone famously tells Bible stories. He's told 4 stories today already. Why is she so sus now? It reeks of okay, and then we need a bit of dialogue here. So they just put in whatever, even if it doesn't make sense for the characters of the story or the things that have happened before. Jimmy finishes the story, whatever, Jesus teaches humility, isn't it great? Back to the balloon, and Tammy very quietly expresses what an awesome day she's had. The others agree a regular volume. Hooray, hooray. They say goodbye to Bibletown and plan to go back after school tomorrow. So there is a school up there in the clouds somewhere. A new song cuts in to signify the ending. And even though it's still some generic stock audio, I have never been so pleased to hear any piece of music. I listened to that one jangly track on loop for an hour and 22 minutes. I'm not okay. The balloon goes out of shot, and for some reason I expected to see the credits in the clouds. What am I thinking? That would be way too much work. They just replayed the exact same sequence from the beginning. But at least now there's drums and a little electric guitar. It is so weird that Mary and Joseph and the three wise men from this opening are never in the film at all. Not even when they're telling that story. The credits look like this because why not, I guess? It was just a template they had lying around. Honestly, it would be weirder if the credits weren't incongruent with the rest of the movie. Nothing in this film connects together visually. Side note, they didn't even format the goddamn credits correctly. They list 4 out of 5 cast members, with the cast on the left and the character on the right, except for Granny. Who the fuck is Granny? And where is Tammy? The main characters were Jimmy, Sarah, and Tammy. And then they met Pam and Sam. The Granny is the odd one out, so that's clearly Tammy. Like, what is going on here? I went to the IMDb cast list to see what was going on, see if I was going crazy, and it lists Pam's character as Pama. Just really 1 second to double check anything at any stage of the production. They cannot be bothered. They got such a tight deadline before they have to make the next shit rip-off of something. The listed characters are correct. Most of them aren't named, so Tammy must be Sarah Taylor. The only explanation I can think of is that whoever wrote the credits just heard the name and misheard it as Granny, and because nobody checks anything in this film, that's what ended up in the final thing. I even went back to the beginning of the film because I started to doubt everything, like maybe I misheard it. Is the child actually called Granny? Because there's nothing anywhere that says the character's name. High Flyers doesn't do subtitles. But no, they definitely say Tammy. I have not completely lost my mind. Excuse me, there were 3 people responsible for mixing? What happened, guys? And 3 color artists, but there was like nothing to grade. It's just the same CG models over 2D images. And there were 3 of them? I do not understand this production even a little bit. And then it just fades to black really abruptly before the credits have even got to the top of the screen. Good luck reading the special thanks. Can't be that special. I'm sure I've said this before, and I'm sure every time I mean it, but this time I really fucking mean it. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. It is so lazy. It's undoubtedly, High Flyers are the laziest filmmakers in existence. At the very least, when they're doing one of their rip-off plots, they have a story to emulate, so the story already exists. Whenever they make something unique, they can't even string together a vague sense of plot. There isn't a plot here, there's a concept. It's just kids telling Bible stories, and when the kids talk to each other, it's unnatural and creepy, it's adult voices, and they sound adult. Things are broken, there's visual errors, there's audio errors, there's one song on loop at the same level. Again, the mixing team, I don't know what the fuck they did, just cashed a paycheck and then went on holiday. Oh, and the main part of the film, the stories, is just, well, for one half of the film, it's just panning across still images. For the second half of the film, it's stock images but animated. Why there are those 2 separate halves, I have no idea. There's nothing to distinguish them. The images, most of the time, well, they're all stock. Most of them are clip art style, but within that clip art, there's different styles, and then sometimes there's something of a radically different style. Sometimes it's like generic background, and sometimes it's like an actual like cartoon piece of art. The images don't match up with the story that's being told. The images are repeated. All of this, everything about it makes it so flat. There were like 2 or 3 moments when the voice acting was so bad, or the CG animation was so mismatched with the dialogue, or there was like a really abrupt change in the scene, or something happened that made me laugh out loud. The rest of it makes for the most boring viewing you can possibly imagine. It's just listening to somebody who is not a good speaker, who does not have an engaging voice, who doesn't shift tone at all. Just read Bible stories in a monotonous voice over, like, basically static images. Mismatched static images that, at best, distract you because you're trying to work out why they don't match what you're hearing. It's awful. It's fucking awful. And they charge money for it. I think that's a fucking crime. I think they should go in the bin. Everyone involved, Evan especially, just get in the bin. You shouldn't be allowed. Not to make films, you just shouldn't be allowed, full stop. That's Bibletown. Cheers. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. I look forward to checking out more weird, stupid films that aren't 90% still images. Because what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? It's the sort of thing that would be more forgivable from like a cheap Christian children's YouTube channel. Just because that way it would be available for free. It's a disgrace to filmmaking. It's a disgrace, dare I say it, to the memory of Jesus Christ. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a cheeky thumbs up, leave a cheeky comment and your thoughts down below. Do check out Finding Jesus if you haven't already. It's just as ridiculous as this, but at the very least, each mini episode actually has a vague story, and there are no long sections that are just still images. Finding Jesus is looking better and better in hindsight for me, honestly. Do consider subscribing if you haven't already so you don't miss future silly videos. You can leave your recommendations down below if you think there's anything weird and crazy out there. Just let me know. If you'd like to hear more from me, you can check out my gaming channel at Little Duck Gaming. All sorts of fun things going on over there. If you'd like to support this channel, you can become a channel member. Right here, right now. You get comment priority and some goofy little emotes, plus you get a little chick next to your name. It's very adorable. Check out the description for links to things like my Ko-fi and today's sponsor. These all help so much. The best way to support this channel is via the Patreon, and with that I will give a big old thank you. I was gonna say it. I was gonna say the thing. Shout out and a thank you to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Especially Connla. Goddammit, Connla. Thank you so much for watching. Most of all, have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.